If you're someone who wants to use Gaussian splats inside of your workflow inside of Blender, but you're finding it extremely complicated, you're going to have to use these third-party add-ons or these complex geonode setups just to get the splat to work. So trying to get splats to work natively inside Blender, or at least with cycles, is actually very difficult. I've been experimenting between Cycles and Octane, and I found out that Octane actually has a native Gaussian Splat node, which makes it extremely easy to work with splats inside of Blender. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up Gaussian Splats in Octane literally in seconds, and why I opted not to even try inside of Cycles. Enough of the jibber jabber, let's get straight into the video. First thing first, we're going to add in a cube. Once I have that cube, I'm going to add in a material. I'm just going to rename that material GS for Gaussian Splat. And then what I'm going to do is immediately, I'm going to take this universal material and we're going to delete it. We don't need that. The reason why, because Octane has its own special Gaussian Splat node. If I come into Shift A, and if we scroll down here to geometry, scroll all the way up to the top here, Gaussian Splat, here it is. We have our own node. We'll take the geometry out and plug it into the displacement. So here are all the settings that we have on this node. But first, this is the most important, the file name. This is where we're going to load in our actual Gaussian Splat file. I'm going to go ahead and load one in. Now, once you have that loaded in, there's one other thing we need to do quickly. I'm going to jump back over, make sure we click on the cube. We're going to scroll over to the data properties of that. Once we do that, we're going to scroll down till we see here, geometric node. We'll open that up, and then we're going to look for the material that we named GS. I click over here. Here is GS. And then within GS, we need to look for the Octane data node. If I pull this out a little bit here, the Octane Geo node, which is going to be the Gaussian Splat node. If we come over here, click on that. There is our Gaussian Splat. Choose that. Now we have basically told Octane that, hey, this material contains the Gaussian Splat node. So from there, we'll come over here, turn on the render, and boom, just like that, we have Gaussian Splats fully set up. Now, you ever tried to set this up in Cycles, you know it's not this easy. That's it. That's how easy it is to set up our splat here. Quick little note from me, guys. A lot of you guys, almost 70% of you guys are actually not subscribed. So it really helps us out here on the channel if you guys consider subscribing, especially if you're into Octane or you want to learn more. Consider hitting that subscribe button. It costs $0, but it does a world of motivation on my end. It helps me keep me going. And, you know, I don't turn on ads for these YouTube videos. I keep them off just so you guys can enjoy these a little bit more better. And if you guys are really enjoying the content, it really does help us out here if you guys hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you in the next one. Now, if you ever try to set up a Gaussian Splat like that inside of Cycles, you know it's not that easy. Let's find out why. Well, if I come into YouTube here and I just basically search Gaussian Splat, the first thing you're going to notice is that everything requires at the moment, at the time of this video that I'm making this in August of 2026, we need to download some type of add-on, a Gaussian Splat add-on, or we need to use some other proprietary software just to get the splats to work here. So honestly, or some weird GeoNode setup. And when I started to do this video, I was going to do the full, this is how you set it up in Cycles versus this is how you do in Octane. But after I researched out what it takes to get this to work, honestly, I didn't even want to deal with it. I did find a couple of other apps that will basically help you to bring in these splats inside of Cycles. One was through the Curie engine, and another one I also found through Sky Splats. And these typically were some of the workflows that people were doing to bring them inside of Cycles, or there was just some complex GeoNode setup that I wasn't going to even waste my time on due to the fact that I can easily set that up in Octane with one node. So as I was searching for this on how to do a proper setup for Cycles, I ended up coming across every single time how to do it in Octane. So at the moment, if you're going to be looking to set this up inside of Cycles, you will need some type of third-party add-on or some weird workaround with the GeoHack and all that other stuff. But if you are willing to use Octane, it's basically instantaneous. You just drop in the node and you're ready to go. But let's see how this actually works using a splat and some 3D geometry in the same scene. So if we're going to try to integrate these Gaussian splats into our 3D scenes, we're going to first need to understand what are the parameters and what do we have as far as control with the Gaussian splat. So let's quickly take a look at the node here. And if we come down here, we have some of these are some of the settings that we have. We have this alpha min, which if we go ahead and crank this up, this basically is almost like controlling the alpha, right? Then we also have this congruous bias. You try to pronounce it. Future me here. So the covariance bias and the covariance scale. The bias is basically think about taking these little dots that we have. If there were stickers, they'll be holding their default size. And if we change it, they're going to basically blow up and they'll start to overlap, which also kind of slows down the viewport. You'll get a little bit more laggy viewport. Opposite, it shrinks them and reduces them. Then also we have where it'll make the light go through them more easily, or making the light not go through them more like a hard plastic. So that's the difference between the covariant bias on the bias and on the scale. That's the best way that I can think about trying to explain it. Back to the video. If you take this, it's basically, from what I'm understanding, I think it's taking the little balls of light. I don't know how, don't correct me, and it's controlling the bias on that, and we can actually control the size on that. Now, you notice how it's changed here. If I set that back to the, whoops, no, we don't want to render that. If we set that back to the default, which is 0.000, now it goes back here. And then this allows us also to control that scale. Now, it's like very fine details, numbers that need to be changed on this. And then if we come here to the scale, you see it's getting kind of bloated. And now it's very small here. So again, if you know what these settings are and you know where you need them, that's where they are. Typically, I have not used them when I'm doing a scene. I basically would just be playing a lot with this intensity. Here is this like intensity again, because it's light. Here's our color space, which also we can do that here, which I've been using on sRGB. We can flip the axis of it. Then we have, again, when we wanted to control light, this is going to be the shadows. Now, the light in your environment, how does it affect that? So this is like basically the HDRI. So if we come in here and we move our HDRI around, you can see that it's adjusting to the light. So this is basically how we would go to relight these here by controlling that shadow. And then we can also control the shadow offset. You can see there, I'm moving the shadow around there. There's the offset of the shadow. So that's how we can do that. And then we also have these lighting modes here where we can control the power. This is basically the power of, we just want to control the power of that light. And then we also have power color. You can control the power and the color. And again, this is all being controlled here with this intensity here. Then we can also assign this to lighting passes within side of Octane to do how you would do lighting holdouts and things like that. So it is fully capable of doing light passes with the light pass ID. Then there is this clipping where we can actually do clipping with other objects if I needed to cut inside of this, or if I wanted to do like a Boolean cut on that. This is where I will go to set that up. Hey guys, do a big favor. If you're getting any value from this video, consider hitting that subscribe button so I can keep making more videos like this for you guys. So now let's look at a scene that I built where I wanted to have a Gaussian Splat environment integrated with 3D assets to kind of make a full-on render. All right, here is a full scene that I built out. And right now, if you look at it, like you're just like, wow. I mean, this is extremely impressive that I'm really excited about this workflow using Gaussian Splats. So you can see here, if I move this, the whole environment is a splat. It's like a splat of a museum. The only thing that is actual 3D geometry. So if I come over here and turn off the room splat, this is the only thing. Actually, I have two splats. I have the rock also inside, which is a splat. And then I have my cube here, which is the 3D asset that I've actually modeled is this display case. Other than that, that's the only thing that is actual 3D. And I have this light here. The rest of the scene is actually a Gaussian Splat environment with the Gaussian Splat rock inside of it. So if I go back and turn on the render here, this is the actual Gaussian Splat rock mineral that I'm using here. And then if I go ahead and turn on the room splat, we're back inside of the room. And here is the room, which is actually really nice. If I completely zoom out, you can see there is the whole thing. So once you're inside here, I kind of basically just went around and tried to find an interesting shot. Again, matching these display cases and remodeling one on my own to just give me an idea of how I want to get this place and trying to find an interesting place within the scene to set up a shot. And that's basically it. It works really nice having actual 3D geometry. There was no problems. The only issue I ran into was, again, the room quality of the scan. I think the higher quality of the scan will probably yield more better looks, because this was a free scan that I did find. And there were some shots that I wanted to have, but it seems like the lower I get down to the ground, we get this weird ghosting artifacting here, like you can see right here. So that kind of limited on some of the shot angles that I wanted to use. Plus, I tried to want to find a shot where I didn't have people in the background because they were just frozen. So that was kind of basically how I did it. As far as these assets here, like on these gemstones and things like that, that is a pack that I actually got from the guys down at PixelLab, which have this fantastic gem mineral pack. I highly recommend taking a look at it. These scans are absolutely fantastic. As far as positioning the camera, I didn't really have too much of an issue, at least trying to get, the main tricky part was trying to get my camera to focus on the Gaussian splat. Again, because the way the splats are designed, you will think that you can just probably put the point of interest or your focal point right where it needs to be. But I had to use a little bit of playing around to get it to get a nice tight focus, and just doing a couple sample renders to make sure that I got everything in focus. And then after that, everything else worked absolutely fine. I did a little slight animation moving around the room, and it worked out perfectly fine. Another thing for you power users of Octane, this Gaussian Splat node is actually also available in the AOV passes. If I come in here to my AOV passes, you'll see here we have the Gaussian Splat AOV output, which is actually really powerful. So we can use that in our compositing if we go outside of Nuke or into DaVinci Resolve or something like that. You do have that option. So this is by far one of the most easiest ways if you're trying to put in photogrammetry elements or Gaussian splats into your scene or into your workflow. At the moment, Octane is probably the easiest, most painless way to actually achieve this and still have control as far as relighting and camera control and depth of field and adding in with 3D elements. It's just absolutely fantastic. The viewport still stays very fast and snappy. And at the moment, it is by far the best workflow is using Gaussian splats inside of 3D. If you guys are interested in learning more about Blender Octane or help on scene files or help building a workflow, I also have a Blender Octane School community. Links down below, 7-day free trial for people who are interested in that. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Keep rendering.